Have you ever walked into a room and wondered why some people instantly draw attention without saying a single word? They don't raise their voice. They don't throw their weight around. They just exist, calm, grounded, and composed. And somehow, everyone listens. That's not charisma. That's not luck. That's presence. And more specifically, it's the kind of presence built from within. Think about it. Marcus Aurelius, emperor of Rome and a Stoic philosopher, led millions, not with dramatic speeches or brute force, but with calm conviction. Or take a more modern example, Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders. A fictional character, yes, but modeled after real-world power. He never rushes, never yells. Yet every time he enters a scene, the energy shifts. Why? Because his power isn't loud, it's silent, intentional, unshakable. In today's world, we're taught that respect is something you demand, that you have to prove yourself. Be louder, be tougher, dominate the room. But the Stoics taught us something very different. Real respect isn't forced, it's attracted. It's not about what you say, it's about how you show up. Respect doesn't come from chasing attention, it comes from mastering yourself. And that's what this video is about. You won't find gimmicks here. No tricks to fake confidence or hack your image. Instead, we'll uncover 8 timeless habits rooted in Stoic philosophy. Habits that will transform how people perceive you. Not because you try to impress them, but because you become someone worth listening to. These aren't abstract theories. They're practical tools, anchored in ancient wisdom and sharpened for the modern world. We'll talk about how to move with purpose, not panic. Command a room without saying a word, master silence and eye contact. Speak with clarity and calm force build. A presence so steady that people feel it before they hear it now. Here's the truth you won't hear often. You can't fake real presence. You can wear the right clothes, rehearse the right lines, but if your inner world is chaotic, it shows. That's why this journey starts inside. Because when you master your emotions, your posture, your words, your mind, you stop trying to earn respect and you start embodying it. So if you've ever felt overlooked even when you had something important to say, tried to assert yourself, only to feel like it backfired, wondered how leaders gain respect without demanding it, then stay with me. Because the answer isn't in what you do once, it's in how you carry yourself always. This is about becoming the kind of person who walks into any room and doesn't have to say a word to be taken seriously. No need to prove, no need to chase, just quiet power, anchored in self-mastery. That's the Stoic way. And if you're ready to begin that journey, you're exactly where you need to be. Let's unlock the first habit and step into the kind of presence the world can't ignore. Habit 1. Move slowly and deliberately. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the most powerful person in the room isn't always the loudest? Isn't the one rushing from corner to corner, trying to prove a point? No, real power moves differently. It moves slowly, deliberately, with purpose. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "A person's worth is measured by what they let disturb them, and nothing reveals your inner world faster than how you move." In a world addicted to speed, fast talking, fast walking, fast reacting, the one who slows down instantly stands out. Think of characters like Tommy Shelby from Peaky Blinders. He doesn't shout, he doesn't flinch, he doesn't fidget. Even in chaos, even when danger is right in front of him, he moves like time bends around him. Why? Because he owns the moment. When you rush, you signal anxiety. When you move with stillness, you signal strength. Now here's the mistake most people make. They think confidence is about keeping up, talking fast, walking fast, reacting fast. But here's the truth. Rushing is reacting. Slowing down is leading. When you walk into a room and you're in a hurry, your body is saying, "I'm trying to catch up, I'm trying to belong." But when you walk in slowly, shoulders back, head steady, you're saying, "I'm already enough. I don't need to prove it." And people feel that, they respond to that. Because power doesn't chase, it invites. So how do you train this? Let's make it practical. First, walk 20% slower. Seriously. The next time you enter a room, whether it's a meeting, a coffee shop, or your own home, walk just a little slower than you normally would. Feel the difference. You'll notice something strange. People start noticing you. Second, practice stillness. When you sit with intention. When you stand, don't sway or shift constantly. Let your body say, I'm at peace here. Third, use the power of pause. Before you speak, take a breath. Before you respond, give it a beat. Let silence do the work for you. Because in that pause, people lean in. They pay attention, and you regain control. Not just of the moment, but of your presence. You see, your body is always communicating, even when your mouth is silent. The Stoics understood this deeply. Self-control isn't just about emotions. It's about how you carry yourself in the world, every step, every movement, every breath. And the less you move unnecessarily, the more intentional you become. The less you move, the more powerful you seem. Stillness isn't stiffness. It's self-possession. It says, I'm not here to chase energy. I'm here to set it. So if you're tired of being overlooked, if you've ever felt like you had something to say but no one listened, start by mastering this first habit. Slow down. Own your space. Move with intention. Because when your body says, I belong here, the world starts to believe it. And when you carry yourself like someone who doesn't need attention, that's when you start commanding it. Let me know in the comments, have you ever noticed someone whose presence spoke louder than their words? Habit 2. Mastering eye contact. Let your presence speak first. Let me share something most people don't realize. Before you say a single word, your eyes have already spoken. Your gaze reveals more than your tone, your posture, even your eye vocabulary. It tells people what kind of person just walked into the room. And in a world full of noise, your eye contact might be the first and most lasting message you ever send. Seneca once said, your gaze reflects your mind. And if your mind is steady, calm, and confident, your eyes will show it. But if your mind is restless, anxious, or unsure, that too will be impossible to hide. Your gaze is your inner world on full display. Now think about this. Have you ever had a conversation with someone who couldn't look you in the eye? Maybe they glanced to the side, looked down, or darted their focus every few seconds. What was your impression? Uncertainty, nervousness, maybe even dishonesty? Now flip it. Think of someone who holds steady eye contact, not in a forced or aggressive way, but in a calm, grounded, effortless manner. Suddenly you feel it. This person is present. This person is centered. This person is in control of themselves, and by extension, the room. That's the power of mastering eye contact. It's not just about looking confident, it's about actually being composed enough to meet the moment with presence. It's why fictional characters like Tommy Shelby feel larger than life. He doesn't need to shout. His eyes do the talking. His gaze doesn't shake because his mind doesn't either. Now I'll be honest, I didn't always get this right. I used to break eye contact too soon. Not because I was scared, but because I wasn't comfortable with stillness. That tiny hesitation, that subtle shift, it spoke louder than I realized. But once I began training myself to hold my gaze just a little longer, everything changed. People took me more seriously. They listened more closely. Not because I changed what I said, but because I changed how I showed up. So how do you build this habit? Here are a few practical ways to train it. The 1-second rule. In your next conversation, hold eye contact just 1 second longer than you usually would before looking away. It's subtle but powerful. That extra beat changes everything. Mirror training. Stand in front of a mirror. Look into your own eyes for 30 seconds. At first, it'll feel strange, even uncomfortable. But over time, it becomes natural. You're not just getting used to your reflection. you're building tolerance for presence. Strategic gaze shifts. If you need to break eye contact, do it with intention. Don't look down. That signals submission. Instead, glance sideways or upward slightly. This keeps your posture confident and calm. Observe the greats. Watch interviews, speeches, or scenes from powerful leaders or actors. Notice how they use their eyes, not with force, but with control. Now let's talk about energy. When your gaze is scattered, people don't know where your attention is. But when your eyes are focused, you become focused. And people feel that. Your eye contact becomes a grounding force, anchoring you in the moment and anchoring others in your presence. Here's the truth. Eye control is emotional control. Emotional control is presence. And presence earns respect, without a single word. This is stoicism in action. You're not controlling others, you're mastering yourself. And that mastery speaks volumes. Through your eyes alone. So here's your challenge. Today, pick just one interaction, a meeting, a call, a conversation, and practice presence through your eyes. Hold steady. Stay calm. Let your gaze say, I'm here, I'm grounded, I'm not backing down, not because I'm fighting you, but because I don't need to. That's when people start taking you seriously. That's when respect begins before you even speak. Let me know in the comments, have you ever met someone whose eye contact made them unforgettable? Habit 3. Do not react, the power of staying. Unshaken. Have you ever been in a situation where someone tried to provoke you? A harsh comment, a disrespectful tone, a passive-aggressive jab in front of others, and everything inside you screamed, say something, fire back, defend yourself. But what if I told you? The most powerful response is no response at all. Seneca, the great Stoic thinker, once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And that quote alone can change the way you navigate conflict forever, because the world will test you. People will push. Situations will frustrate. But your real power lies in one place, your ability to stay calm when others can't. Picture two people in an argument. One is shouting, red in the face, emotionally unraveling. The other is silent, still, focused. Who really holds the power? It's not the one making noise. It's the one who's conserving energy, staying in control, not just of the conversation, but of themselves. That's the essence of Stoicism. Self-mastery in the face of chaos. I once worked with someone who modeled this perfectly. Deadlines would shift. Clients would panic. People around him would lose their cool. But he never raised his voice. He never rushed his words. He would pause, breathe, and then speak with calm certainty. And here's what was wild. People listened. They trusted him, not because he demanded control, but because he embodied it. You see, when you react emotionally, you hand over your power. You let someone else dictate your state of mind. But when you pause, when you observe, when you choose your response with intention, that's when you flip the script. Suddenly, you're not playing their game. You're setting the tone. So how do you build this habit? Here are 4 powerful techniques anyone can use. 1. The 2-second rule. When something upsets you, pause. Just 2 seconds. It's long enough to stop the emotional impulse and make space for a wiser response. 2. Control your body. Your body and mind are linked. If you breathe deeply, steady your hands, and relax your shoulders, you tell your nervous system, we're okay, we're not under threat. A calm body supports a calm mind. 3. Use silence as a tool. In a heated moment, silence is more powerful than the sharpest comeback. Let it hang. Let the tension build. Often, people will reveal more about themselves when you say less. 4. Detach from emotional triggers. Ask yourself, does this person's opinion change my reality? If not, why give them your peace? The Stoics knew this. Most offenses aren't about you. They're a reflection of someone else's chaos. Here's the truth. You can't control how others act, but you can control how you respond. And your response determines everything. In a world full of noise, the calm one commands attention. In a world of overreaction, the unshaken one earns respect. You don't need to win every argument. Sometimes silence wins more than words ever could. So the next time someone tries to rattle you, pause, breathe, hold steady. Let them burn their energy while you preserve yours. Because the moment you stop reacting to everything around you, you become untouchable. Let me ask you, have you ever chosen stillness over reaction and watched the power shift in your favor? Drop your experience in the comments. Your story might help someone else stay grounded today. Habit 4. Expand your presence. Be seen without saying a word. Have you ever met someone who walked into a room and instantly everyone turned to look? Not because they were loud. Not because they made some dramatic entrance, but because they carried themselves like they belonged, without needing permission. That's not charisma, that's not luck, that's presence. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." And in the same way, don't waste time trying to prove you deserve attention, just embody it. Because presence isn't about size, status, or volume. It's about how you carry yourself, your posture, your pace, your gestures, your energy. Think about this. Two people are speaking on stage. One stays stiff, arms locked, voice timid. The other stands tall, gestures with clarity, and takes their time between thoughts. Who are you more likely to listen to? The second one, right? Not because of what they say, but because of how they show up. The way they move, the space they take up. It speaks before their words ever do. I once knew someone who mastered this without saying much at all. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud, but the moment he walked into a room, conversations paused. Not out of fear, but out of respect. His secret? He owned his space. He moved like his time mattered. He stood with ease, but with intention. And when he spoke, he paused like he knew every word would land, and it did. You can build that presence too. It's not performance, it's awareness. And here's how. 1. Stand taller. Posture is the foundation of presence. Straighten your spine. Pull your shoulders back slightly. Chin up. Not arrogant, just awake. Good posture doesn't just make you look confident, it makes you feel more confident. 2. Use open gestures. Keep your hands visible. Don't cross your arms or hide in your pockets. Open palms, relaxed movements, gestures that match your words. This signals honesty, calm, and control. 3. Match the room. Talking to one person? Keep gestures subtle and grounded. Speaking to a group? Broaden your stance. Expand your gestures. Presence isn't about always being big, it's about being appropriate and intentional. 4. Own the pause. Don't rush your sentences. When you speak, allow space between your ideas. Silence isn't awkward, it's powerful. It makes people lean in and listen. 5. Move with intention. Whether you're walking into a room or crossing a stage, don't shuffle or hesitate. Take each step like it belongs to you. Walk with direction, not distraction. Presence is about energy, and your energy enters the room before your voice ever does. When you walk in distracted, unsure, or tense, people feel that. But when you walk in grounded, focused, and unhurried, that speaks volumes. Here's something worth remembering. You don't have to force attention when your presence invites it. You don't need approval. You don't need to dominate. You simply need to own the space you occupy, with calm, confident intent. The world respects those who carry themselves like they already belong, and when you do that, people don't just see you, they remember you. So here's your challenge. Next time you walk into a room, ask yourself, am I shrinking or am I expanding? Am I rushing to catch up or moving like I'm already enough? Because when you expand your presence with grace, not ego, you don't just take space. You elevate it. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever met someone whose presence said everything before they even spoke? Habit 5. Speak with conviction. Make every word matter. Let me ask you something. When you speak, do people listen, not just hear you? Actually listen, because here's the truth. Most people don't lose respect because of what they say. They lose it because of how they say it. They speak with hesitation, soften their words, or constantly look for approval in every sentence. And over time, their voice fades. Not because they don't have value, but because they don't speak like they believe they do. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Speak only what is necessary. Let your words reflect truth." The Stoics weren't fans of fluff. They didn't believe in over-explaining or overstating. They believed in saying less, but meaning more. Let's be real. How many times have you heard someone say things like, "I think this might work. I'm not sure, but maybe we could try. Hopefully this makes sense." It doesn't matter how smart or capable they are. Phrases like that drain strength from their message. Why? Because every time you add maybe, I guess, or hopefully, what you're really saying is, "I'm not sure I trust myself." And if you don't trust yourself, why should anyone else? Now think of someone who speaks clearly, directly, with calm, steady confidence. They don't have to shout. They don't fill the air with words. They just say what needs to be said, with purpose. That kind of presence is magnetic. People don't just hear them, they believe them. I had a colleague like this, incredibly intelligent, but every time he spoke, he softened his statements. "I think this could maybe work, but I'm not sure." Even when he was absolutely right, people overlooked his ideas. But something shifted. He started eliminating filler language. He lowered his tone. He started saying things like, "This approach will work. Here's why. Let's move forward with this." And suddenly, people started listening, not because he was louder, but because he was clearer. So how do you train this habit? Let's break it down. 1. Eliminate weak words. Cut out phrases like "I think," "maybe," "hopefully," "I guess." Replace them with direct statements. You don't have to be arrogant, just firm. 2. Lower your tone at the end. When your voice rises at the end of a sentence, it sounds like a question, even if it's not. Practice ending your sentences with a slightly lower tone. It grounds your speech and signals certainty. 3. Slow down. When you speak too fast, it signals nervousness. Slow your pace, let your words land, give each sentence space to breathe. 4. Say less, mean more. Don't ramble, don't over-justify. Make your point, then pause. Let the silence do the rest, and that's the secret right there. Conviction isn't about being louder. It's about being clearer. It's about owning your words, not hoping they'll be accepted. When you speak with calm strength, when your words come from a place of inner certainty, you don't have to convince people, they'll feel it. So here's your challenge. The next time you're about to say, "I think maybe we could," pause. Replace it with, "We should. Here's why." Speak like you believe what you're saying. Because if you don't, why should anyone else? And remember, respect doesn't come from noise. It comes from clarity. Speak less. Speak slower. Speak stronger. And people won't just hear you, they'll remember you. Let me know in the comments. What's one phrase you're ready to eliminate from your speech starting today? Habit 6. Slow down your speech. Speak with calm authority. Here's something most people overlook. The way you speak says more about your confidence than the words you choose. You could have the best idea in the room, but if you rush through your words, if you stumble, speed up, and never let a sentence land, people won't feel your conviction. They'll feel your anxiety. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Let your words be measured, and your speech be calm." That wasn't just philosophy, it was power strategy. Because in the modern world, where everyone is trying to talk fast, talk first, and talk more, the person who speaks slowly, with purpose, is the one who commands attention. Think about the last time someone told a story that pulled you in. Was it because they raced through it? Or because they let it breathe, gave it rhythm, gave it weight? When someone speaks slowly, they create space. Space for words to land, space for silence to speak. It's the difference between someone who's trying to get a thought out and someone who already knows they'll be heard. When I first started public speaking, I made this mistake constantly. I talked too fast, thinking it showed energy. I feared silence, thinking it signaled I didn't know what to say, but all it did was make me sound nervous and easy to overlook. Then I started watching great speakers, Stoic speakers, and I realized they all had one thing in common. They weren't afraid of silence. They let their words hang. They paused before their point. They spoke like every sentence had value, and people listened because it did. Here's how you can build that same presence through speech. 1. Use the 1 second. Pause after you finish a strong sentence. Pause for 1 second. Let the silence emphasize your message. You'll be surprised how much more seriously people take your words. 2. Slow your pace by 10%. This may feel uncomfortable at first. You'll think you're being too slow. But to others, it will sound calm, grounded, intentional. 3. Let silence do the heavy lifting. Before you say something important, pause. Don't be afraid of the silence. Let it create tension. Let it pull people in, because silence isn't empty. It's filled with anticipation and authority. Now here's the deeper truth. Fast talk, insecurity. Slow talk, certainty. When you rush your speech, it sends a signal. I'm afraid I'll be interrupted. I'm afraid my words aren't worth the space. But when you slow down, you're saying, I know what I'm saying matters. I'm not afraid of being heard, or not. That's real power. You don't have to shout. You don't need perfect grammar. You just need presence and a willingness to own your words. Every pause, every breath, every moment of silence between your sentences. They build tension. They build weight. They build respect. So here's your challenge. In your next conversation, meeting, or presentation, intentionally slow down your speech by 10%. And when you make a strong point, pause. Let it echo. Because when you speak with calm, when your words are measured, people don't just listen, they lean in. And in a world full of noise, that kind of quiet confidence is unforgettable. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever noticed how someone's tone made you take them more seriously before you even process their words? Habit 7. Use leverage. Influence with quiet power. Let me start with this. Powerful people don't beg, they don't plead, they don't chase, and they definitely don't depend on hope to get what they want. They understand something far more strategic. Leverage. Marcus Aurelius once said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." To the Stoic mind, obstacles aren't barriers, they're opportunities. And when it comes to influence, the most effective people don't push harder, they position smarter. Leverage isn't manipulation. It's not about control. It's about understanding human behavior and using it with intention. Let's take a simple example. Salary negotiation. 2 employees walk into their manager's office. The first says, "I've been here a while, and I'd really appreciate a raise." The second says, "Over the last 6 months, I've increased performance across key metrics and taken on new responsibilities. I'd love to discuss how I can continue creating value at a higher level. What would you need to see from me over the next 90 days to make that happen?" Now, who do you think gets the raise? The second person didn't ask for more. They positioned themselves as worth more. They created leverage. Here's the truth. Most people approach requests from a place of need, but leaders and Stoics approach from a place of value. Don't ask, what can they do for me? Ask, what problem am I solving for them? That mindset shift changes everything. So how do you develop this kind of strategic presence? Let's break it down into 4 practical strategies. 1. Reframe around their interests. If you're making a request, make it about them, not you. Example, instead of, can I lead this project? Try, I'd like to lead this project. I believe I can take pressure off the team and deliver results faster. Same request, different framing, huge difference in outcome. 2. Offer controlled choices. Give others the feeling of control without giving up your outcome. Instead of, can we meet this week? Try, would Wednesday or Thursday work better for you? When you control the options, you guide the decision without pushing. 3. Always have a plan B. When you need something, you're in a weak position. But when you have options, you're free. In negotiation, in conversation, in life. People respect those who are prepared to walk away because it shows they value themselves more than approval. 4. Let silence do the work. Once you make your ask, stop talking. Don't over-explain, don't justify, don't backpedal, just pause. Silence adds pressure. It makes the other person fill the space, and often, that's where your leverage works best. Here's what Stoicism teaches us. Influence is not about pushing harder. It's about positioning smarter. You don't need to manipulate, you don't need to overpower, you just need to understand what others care about and align your message with that. So here's your challenge. The next time you're about to make a request, pause. Ask yourself, how can I make this about them? Don't sell yourself short. Don't beg for yes. Create the conditions for yes by speaking to what matters most to the person in front of you. Because when you learn to use leverage with calm confidence, you don't chase opportunity. You attract it. Let me know in the comments. Have you ever seen someone turn a no into a yes simply by changing how they asked? Habit 8. Build inner confidence. Master yourself first. If there's one thing that sets truly respected people apart, it's this. They don't chase validation. They don't need applause to feel valuable. They don't need permission to act. They move through the world with a calm, quiet certainty. And that certainty? It doesn't come from status, money, or attention. It comes from within. Marcus Aurelius said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. In other words, real confidence is not given, it's built. And it starts with how you treat yourself. Think about it. You've probably met someone who wasn't loud, flashy, or showy. But when they spoke, everyone listened. Why? Because they didn't need to prove anything. They carried themselves like someone who already believed they were enough. That's what inner confidence looks like. And once you build it, people feel it, even before you say a word. So how do you create that kind of unshakable presence? Let's break it down. 1. Keep promises to yourself. This is the foundation of confidence. Every time you say, I'll do this, and follow through, you send a message to your brain. I can trust myself. But when you break those small commitments, even the invisible ones, you start chipping away at that trust. Confidence isn't about hype, it's about consistency. Start small. Wake up when you said you would. Finish what you started. Honor your word, even when no one's watching. 2. Detach from external validation. This one's hard, but here's the truth. If your confidence depends on likes, applause, or someone else's approval, then your peace belongs to them, not you. Ask yourself this. If no one ever saw this, would I still do it? If the answer is yes, you're acting from truth, not performance, and that's where real confidence is born. 3. Seek discomfort. Take risks. Growth never happens in the comfort zone. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's acting anyway. Speak up when it's uncomfortable. Start something before you feel ready. Put yourself in rooms where you feel out of your depth. Every time you lean into discomfort, you stretch your identity. You expand your threshold. You teach your mind, we can handle this. 4. Accept that you are enough. Right now. This doesn't mean settling. It means recognizing that your value isn't on the line every time you show up. You don't need to earn the right to belong. You already do. The Stoics weren't obsessed with image or recognition. They were focused on virtue, on living in alignment with their values. That's what made them powerful. They didn't chase significance. They embodied it. So here's your challenge. Look at your life and ask, where am I outsourcing my confidence? And then, bring it back home. Because when you trust yourself, when you honor your word, when you stop waiting for approval, you become unstoppable. Let me leave you with this. You don't have to be fearless. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be honest with yourself and about your path. Build from the inside. Let your confidence grow from doing hard things, keeping your promises, and walking in truth. And when you do, you won't need to chase respect. It will follow you everywhere. Let me know in the comments. What's one small promise you'll make and keep to yourself this week? So after all the lessons, all the reflection, here's what it really comes down to. Power isn't about being loud. It's not about forcing respect. It's not about titles, followers, or approval. It's about something quieter, something deeper. It's about mastery of self. Because the most respected people in any room don't have to prove they belong. They don't chase attention. They attract it naturally, effortlessly, because of how they move through the world. We live in a time where everyone wants to be seen, but very few people are anchored enough to be worth watching. That's where Stoic philosophy comes in. It reminds us that if you want to lead others, first you have to lead yourself. And the moment you begin doing that, the moment you stop chasing respect, that's when you start commanding it. Let's recap what you've learned in this journey. 8 powerful habits that don't just change how others see you. They change how you see yourself. 1. Move with purpose. Rushing signals insecurity. Stillness signals control. When you slow down, you stop chasing energy and start setting it. 2. Control your gaze. Your eyes speak louder than your words. When your gaze is calm and steady, people feel your presence before you say a thing. 3. Stay unshaken. In conflict, silence and composure win. Every time you choose not to react, you reclaim your power. 4. Expand your presence. Own your space. Speak with intention. Command attention, not by demanding it, but by embodying it. 5. Speak with conviction. Eliminate hesitation from your voice. Don't ask for permission with your tone. Stand firm in your message. 6. Speak slowly. Let your words breathe. A calm voice carries more weight than fast, anxious chatter ever will. 7. Use leverage. Don't plead. Position. Speak to others' interests, create options, and let silence work in your favor. 8. Build inner confidence. True power doesn't come from praise. It comes from self-trust, self-discipline, and the quiet belief, I am enough. These aren't tactics. They're not performance tricks. They're principles. And when you live by them consistently, people feel something different around you. They listen differently. They respond differently. Not because you've demanded respect, but because you've become someone who naturally commands it. So here's your final challenge. Which one of these habits spoke to you most? Which one do you need to own, starting today? Drop it in the comments. Your answer might be exactly what someone else needs to hear right now. And if this series gave you value, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next. Because we're just getting started. I'll leave you with this. The moment you stop chasing respect is the moment you begin to command it. Not through force, not through noise, but through quiet, disciplined self-mastery. And that's a kind of power no one can take from you. See you in the next video.